Hey guys, John here from Sonic Drive Studio. I hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and that is compare my ORNG Rockerverb 50 Mark III to my PRS Archon 50. This is going to be fun, and I'm very excited because these two amps definitely are two of my favorite amplifiers in my collection. So why compare these two amps? Well, for starters, both the amps obviously are 50 watt amplifiers. They both have two power tubes in them each. The Rockerverb has two EL34s in the power section, and the Archon has two 6CA7s in the power section. And they are made for the same genres basically. They are both high gain rock amps with excellent clean tones as well. And I think they work really well for similar styles basically. So that's another reason why these amps were picked for this comparison. And they also both have two channels each, so they both have a clean channel and a high gain dirty channel. They don't sound the same though, and they also don't have the exact same features. The Rockerverb has an attenuator and a spring reverb, for example, but no resonance or presence controls. And the clean channel also lacks a gain control and a mid control. That is part of the ORNG charm though. ORNG amps in general tend to have a little bit less controls. They tend to be a little bit more basic and to the point. The ORNG is made in the United Kingdom though, so it is about twice as expensive as the Archon. Not exactly, but roughly twice the price. Depending on what country you're in, of course, because it will vary from Europe to the United States and so forth. The PRS Archon 50, which is the newest version by the way as of right now, does not have a standby switch. It also does not have a reverb, but each individual channel does have a gain and a volume control. And each channel also features a bright switch, and the power section does feature a depth and a presence control. So there are a bit more tone shaping options on this amplifier. Anyway, I just want to hear them side by side, and that's what we're going to do today, of course. We're going to start with some beautiful clean tones. Both the amplifiers have wonderful clean channels, but it's going to be very interesting to hear the differences here. On the ORNG, I will dial in some of the spring reverb. It's available on the amplifier after all, so why not use it? It's a kind of subtle reverb, but it will add a nice touch to that tone. And on the Archon, I will enable the bright switch on the clean channel, which is what I always do basically, because it will open up the amp quite nicely. And the guitar that I'm using here is my Yamaha Revstar Standard on the neck pickup for a nice and warm clean tone. Both amps will be fed into my RedSeven Amplification Amp Central Reactive load and then into OwnHammer IRs from the Essentials. The ORNG will go through the single 57 file from the 412 ORNG cabinet, and the Archon will go through the single 57 mic IR from the 412 RECT cabinet. Now I'm not using the same cabs for this comparison just yet, I will in a minute, but in general, ORNG amp users do tend to prefer running their ORNG amplifiers through ORNG cabinets, and these types of amplifiers will often be used through Mesa Boogie cabinets. So that's why I'm using these cabinets for these two amps right now. Those are just combinations that will work really well with these amplifiers, and that's how you will probably hear them most of the time in the real world. However, in a minute you'll also get to hear them through the same cabinet, so stay tuned for that. Okay, let's check this out in a full band mix first, as that's where guitar tones matter the most. Let's check it out right now. Alright, both sound great, but definitely not the same. The Orange has a very nice warm and round character to it with a bit more compression going on. Kind of Vox-like almost with that full mid-range. Now this clean tone should work really well with brighter pickups with single coils and stuff like that, but it's a beautiful tone indeed. I did crank the treble a little bit there to make it sound a bit more bright. The Archon does have more mid-range cut and presence, but it's a bit more pokey and dynamic sounding basically. This clean channel could benefit from a compressor just to make things sound a little bit more compressed and warm. But yeah, I guess it's safe to say that both clean channels sound excellent here. Now let's check out that same comparison, but this time with the isolated guitars and with the amps going through the same cabinet this time. And for that purpose, I will use the OwnHammer Essentials 412 RECT cabinet, again on the single 57 MKIII. Here we go. Great! And as expected, the differences are still quite obvious. They do definitely have their own voice. Now let's move on to the really fun stuff, the dirty stuff. I think that 80% of you or so probably have skipped to this part of the video anyway. On the Orange Rockerverb 50 Mark III, I'm going to turn off the reverb and of course move over to the dirty channel. And on the Archon, I'm going to the lead channel and I will enable the bright switch once again. And again, I'm going to start with the full mix with both amps running through their own unique cabinet IRs from those same OwnHammer Essential cabinets. So the Orange through the Orange cabinet and the Archon through the Mesa cabinet. But this time I'm using the high gain mic mix for each. And for these riffs, I'll use my ESP LTD Phoenix Deluxe 1000, the white one with the Seymour Duncan SH5 in the bridge. Here we go. Very nice. They both sound so good, and I do love them both. The Orange Rockerverb 50 just sounds typical Orange. It really has a unique sound that I really love. It's just a very charming sound, basically. Somewhat hairy up top, but in a nice way, and quite smooth overall, with that very nice and thick and rich saturation going on that's very typical for this amplifier. The Archon 50 does have a bit more mid-range bark or cut, so I guess in that regard it is a little bit more modern sounding. The chugs on the Archon are also a bit bigger and chunkier sounding, so a bit more dynamic. But the Orange does have a very nice way of compressing everything and making everything sound very even, which works really well in a mix. Now let's go ahead and check out the isolated guitars, but again I will run them through the same cabinet this time, and for that purpose I will choose the OwnHammer 412 RECT cabinet on the high gain mic mix once again. Let's check it out. Awesome! They both sound so good, but which one is the best? That is the question. But I obviously own both of these amplifiers, and I would not want to choose because I love them a lot. I think these amps are great. So I guess what you guys could do is just listen very closely to the character of the amplifiers and decide for yourself which one you prefer and why. Which of the clean channels speaks more to you and which of the dirty channels speaks more to you. I guess you could say that for metal and more modern stuff that needs a lot of cut and chunk, the Archon is a bit more in that direction. But the Rockerverb does have that very charming and unique orange tone that definitely sounds a bit more original, I guess you could say. So it's a tough choice, but definitely let me know in the comments down below which one you would choose and why. That's all for this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please consider hitting the like and subscribe buttons down below along with the notification bell, as that really helps the channel out. I'd hugely appreciate that. You can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And also don't forget to join our Facebook group, the Sonic Drive Studio Guitar Gear Forum, because that's a great place to talk about gear. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers!